Well, I love that song. Once again, shout out to Stereo Umbers for giving me that song or letting me have it. Or I don't know the proper words for it. Let me use it. But what
Yeah,
a great
look,
song.
you're doing them a favor too, though, Anthony. I mean, you get to play that all the time, and people get to hear it. They've never heard it before. Maybe they never heard of stereo members. It's a win-win.
God, good. It's amazing. So big shout out to Stereo Umbers for that. But we are back. Another episode. This is Let's Talk Vinyl with Trey and Anthony. Trey Busch, of course, in my opinion, wine master, wine aficionado. I think I said that word correctly. All the way from good old. Are you in Walla Walla right now?
Walla Walla, yep. Hanging out.
My
Walla
favorite
Walla.
name of a town I've never been in.
Again, the
But
town's
we are
so
here
nice,
for
name is
one
right.
reason. That's right. We're here tonight to talk about the song Garden from Pearl Jam. We're going to dig deep into this bottle of wine from Walla Walla, Washington, and Trey's going to talk about that. We're going to dig into the song Garden. We're going to talk about some facts about it. I got some interesting facts on that side. We're going to watch one of the live videos I found and just kind of talk about how that song, what it means to both of us.
That sounds awesome. I can't wait. What you didn't tell me what live version we're gonna watch tonight.
So we're going to watch the Toronto show from 2011.
All right.
The interesting thing about Garden, and I've seen it quite a few times live, is that it's really not played often at all. And it's surprising because for a song as beautiful as Garden is, it's in rotation very limited. It's probably one of the most, I'd have to look at this and I could be wrong. I think it's the most limited song, maybe besides Wash, from the original album.
Off of 10, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was never going to be a single, right? I mean, it wasn't written in that style to be like this massive radio hit. And so you can understand how, especially these days when they've got 10 albums to work off of or whatever, it's hard for them to, go dive in and they're going to play Alive and, Even Flow and Black, but they've got to pull another one. So I'm the same way. I probably heard it a dozen times out of the 80 plus times I've seen the band. So, but it's a killer song. I can't wait to see the live version of it.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about this was, so I've only seen it 9 times out of all the times I've seen them live, which I think off the original album might be the least amount of any song off that album that I've seen live. But I think it's a timing thing. So after listening to it for a while, it is an interesting timing in how it's played. There is a lot of like melody, and there is kind of like this back and forth between Eddie's vocals and the way it's played. That it is. I mean, I can't quote this because I'm not a real professionally trained musician, but I think it's kind of maybe a tough song to do live.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine them wanting to shy away from anything, but I agree with you. It's is it the oddest song on the album? Like, is it the one song that stands out more than any of them? Then I say stands out like not necessarily it doesn't fit, but you're like it's kind of the outlier a little bit of that particular album. What do you think?
Yeah, so if you look at 10, right, and you look at the track listing, Once, which is it's a very common song. It's not a very overly played song, but it is played often at shows. Even Flow, which is a very common, I would say, and you have a 90% chance of getting that.
Yeah.
Alive, which is a very common song now. It took a break for a while. Why Go, which can be a rarity sometimes, which is a powerhouse, and people know that. Black, which is everyone knows Black. Jeremy, which was huge.
Yep.
Oceans, that's a rarity in itself too. They don't play that very often.
No.
Porch, which is a very commonly played song. Garden, which we're talking about tonight. Deep, that is another rare song on its own.
Garden into Deep, those two. So think about how those two fit together, right? So they're dark songs.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's Eddie diving deep into some psych stuff, right? And so I think those are two good songs back to back, the way they sort of play into each other on that album.
And isn't it kind of funny in a sense that the last song on the album is Release, and that tends to be the opener for most shows?
Yes, that's right. And in Oceans sometimes it's usually played as an. I think I've heard Oceans mostly as an opener as well. So.
But before we really dig deep into garden, I'm excited about this. We are drinking Force of Nature. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this wine and what I should expect to taste? And also, you listen, this is I
Go
told you
ahead.
before we even started the
Say
show.
it out loud. Say
I
it out
don't
loud.
I don't know much about wine. Like you've got me into it now, and you got me now texting you. Like when I go out to dinner with my friends to impress them, I'll text you like quickly, like, "Hey, dude, what should I be drinking to impress my friends?" And you give me the answer, and then I have impressed many friends, so I thank you for that. But you sent me a text message like, "Hey, dude, decanter the wine before you drink it," and I'm like, the fuck is he talking about?
Decant the wine. So when you're drinking red wine mostly, although you can decant white wine, but this is a decanter right here. So it's just like a big vessel you can pour the entire wine into. And the reason you want to do that with red wine, especially, and there's a few reasons to do it. You're introducing oxygen to the wine. Introducing oxygen to the wine releases a lot of the chemical compounds, and that's why when you have a wine glass, and you see people doing this all the time, they're incorporating oxygen into the wine glass, into the wine, so it releases what you smell, and it also releases things that you taste too. So when you take a young red wine that's meant for long-term aging, and when I say long-term aging, like you buy a bottle of wine, you can stick it in your cellar for 25 years. 25 years later, pull it out of your cellar, open it, and it's like this mind-blowing experience, right? Majority of wine is not made like that. It's usually small production wineries or culty wineries out of Napa or old school wineries out of Bordeaux and Italy and stuff. But the majority of wine is not made like that. But when you're buying high-end wines, they usually, if they're younger, need to be decanted early, like 3 hours early.
Wow. Okay.
Just putting it in a decanter and letting it sit there for 3 hours allows that wine to kind of open up a little bit. So that is why I said, because what vintage do you have of that? What did I say?
So this is a 2017. Okay.
I'm drinking the 14. Okay. So this is 3 years older. You got the new vintage of that wine. So what Anthony didn't mention is that it's called Force of Nature.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're watching this podcast, I don't need to explain why it's called Force of Nature. It's a Killer Pearl Jam song. But I do want to give a little bit of background on the wine, the Force of Nature name, and kind of who I made it for. This is kind of a tribute to my mentor in the wine business. His name was Eric Dunham. He passed away in 2014. He was also a huge Pearl Jam fan. I went to see, probably 10 Pearl Jam shows with him from the early 2000s all the way through 2014 before he passed. And but he was my mentor in the wine business. He taught me how to make wine and sort of gave me my foundation for the business. So this vintage, 2014, the year he passed away, if you read the lyrics on the back, it says, last I saw, he was out there waiting, a silhouette in black light, full moon glow, in the sand, there he stands upon the shores forever, evermore. So it's really, this is dedication to Eric, right? The lyrics are very meaningful. The artwork in the front, if you look at that photograph, Anthony, what's up, John? Hey, man.
Dude, a big shout out to John, man, for everything he's doing.
Shout out to John Evans. Hey, I got to stand on top of the Space Needle when John raised the Pearl Jam flag at the home shows. That was pretty killer.
Dude, he is a hero, man, right there. I see the image.
So the image is the Snake River. It's Hell's Canyon. It's a photograph I took in the summer of 2015, and I was on a beach, and that's the moon rising. It's not the sunset. That was the full moon rising right down that line. Okay, it hadn't all
Wow.
come up all the way. I took that with my cell phone. All right,
Did you really?
But when you shrink it down, the pixelation doesn't happen quite as much, right? But the reason I put that photo on there was because the last meaningful trip that Eric really took was down the Snake River in summer of 2014. And so this was the summer of 2015. And I took the same trip that Eric took, kind of tracing his footsteps a little bit.
Sure.
And so that's why that wine is, that's why it's called Force of Nature, because Eric was a force of nature. And he was also my mentor. And then we also donate a portion of the proceeds, the saleless wine, to the American Society for Suicide Prevention. And so, which is unfortunately how Eric passed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Force of Nature and Light Years, I make another Syrah called Light Years. And those two wines are both made in Eric's honor. And again, the obvious Pearl Jam reference, but look, we talked about it 1,000 times, like the meaning of these lyrics from the band really hit home to all of us in their own way, no matter what it is, whether it's a wedding or a funeral, birth of a baby, a new job, whatever it is. You can always find something in a Pearl Jam lyric that relates. So that's that.
Dude, that's a pretty amazing story, and it's also pretty amazing that you did that for somebody. I mean, it takes a lot of this topic is a kind of a hard topic to talk about. I mean, everyone's been affected in different ways.
Yep.
But to be
I don't
able
know
to,
anybody that hasn't been affected by it, though. That's the other thing, Anthony.
Yeah, it's scary, dude.
We all know somebody.
Well, I mean, the really screwed up part is, so my son right now is about to start this anti-bullying campaign for his foundation does, Keeper for a Cure, where he's a goalkeeper and he tries to do things. And this is just basically he's trying to get people to stand up to bullying. And then also in the same sense, he wants like kids to take a pledge like, hey, I'm not going to bully people anymore, because the things he sees at school and the things that he's reading, it's scary. And the crazy thing about the whole things when we were looking at facts a week ago is the suicide rate among kids under the age of 16 is the highest in the last 2 years than it's ever been ever. Dude, the numbers are scary.
I mean, I hate hearing that. So, we've got a 9-year-old in the house and got a 15-year-old in the house. And so, yeah, I mean, that's terrible. So, but good for your son. I mean, it's in the same way that he's raising money for that. And you mentioned it's difficult to talk about things like suicide. The only way you can raise awareness is by talking about it.
Sure.
And I've got a friend in Seattle who has this really great Instagram page, but she's a photographer, and it's called Faces of Fortitude. And she interviews, because she herself is a suicide survivor.
Okay.
She interviews either family members or friends or loved ones that were left behind, or suicide survivors that attempted, weren't successful, came out on the other side and were able to talk about it. And this photo series that she does they're all in black and white, and it's part of the interview. A lot of these people are really just talking about it for the very first time.
Wow.
So these like super raw emotions come out, and so she captures all that stuff on film, and it's very powerful, and certainly something to follow and worth. But the point being is that you never know who's out there that's going to see that hear something or see something or read something that maybe helps them change their mind. So
yeah, man. Well, listen, this is great. Now I have a question for you though, Trey.
Yeah.
How am I'm curious now, because I feel like I'm doing wine wrong. Is there a right and a wrong way to pour wine?
Well, first of all, you need to have wine in your glass.
Oh, okay. So how do you,
Right.
do you pour it off?
Second of all, I'm going to send you a set of wine glasses.
Yeah, because I'm using this like steal the glass.
I know you're drinking out of your goddamn Pilsner glass. It's fine. Look, it's a vessel that moves the liquid into your mouth, and that is
Okay.
okay.
All right.
All right.
So I'm just gonna pour it. I'm gonna hit the side. How's that
No,
sound?
pour it in. Ah, it's poured in. Doesn't matter. You can just pour
All right.
that thing in there, and you
And
want to
how
go
much do
like
you usually pour? Like half a glass?
that's good right there. Perfect.
All right. Good.
Now I don't know if you can swirl that.
I mean, yeah, I could probably swirl it. Let me see.
It's not like a stem to hold on to. Oh, that's pretty good. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, give it a sip. But let's talk about this wine because we talked about the name and what it means and all that good stuff. But what is this wine? So this is 100% Syrah. Syrah is a grape, just like Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Chardonnay. It's a grape, right? Syrah, its native home is, as of now, at least, is the Rhone Valley in France. That's where it's kind of made its benchmark wines, came from the Rhone Valley in France. But they grow a lot of Syrah all over the world. In Australia, it's called Shiraz. So if you ever had Shiraz and Syrah, it's the exact same grape. They just call it something different. But it turns out that in Washington, it's one of our best grapes.
Wow.
We've got a great climate for it. Syrah does well in lots of different climates: cool, warm, hot. It expresses itself differently, but it's interesting. The wines are always complex enough, no matter where they're grown. If it's in a cool climate or a hot climate, there are some grapes that only do well in a certain climate.
Okay.
Syrah seems to be very flexible, and which is one of the reasons I love the grape. And one of the reasons I love the grape is also because how different it is from vineyard to vineyard. You can have the exact same grape grown in one site. In 10 miles away, the exact same grape planted in a different site, and you think they're from different countries. No resemblance whatsoever. So it shows the word is terroir, which you've heard before, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's to define terroir is basically like it's essentially a place. It is sun and wind and rain and cultural, the people that are pruning, and then certainly it's the dirt. Okay, and the dirt's probably the biggest influence, the dirt and the weather, right? Those are the two things that influence that final outcome of that grape. But it's a flavor. And even though you're like, well, it's the same grape, you go by a Starbucks in Atlanta or New Jersey or LA or Vegas or Seattle, it tastes like a Starbucks coffee.
Mm-hmm.
But you go taste a Syrah grown in all these different places, and they're very different, even though it's the same grape. And that's the terroir coming through for that wine. And so this particular wine is 100% Syrah, and it's also fermented with the skins. With the stems. So most red wines are destemmed, and you're just fermenting the grape berry and the skins, right? So you have the juice and the skins. With Syrah, it's oftentimes you'll use the stems as part of the fermentation. It gives you a textural quality, it gives you an aromatic quality, and a flavor profile that otherwise would be missing from the final product. And in my opinion, as a winemaker, for me, using stems adds complexity and makes the wine better. Now, it's just a personal preference.
Okay.
I could also make this wine using no stems, and it would be delicious. But to me, it would be lacking something. And so that's why I use the stems.
Now, the last time we drank Light Years, and I know that's a total different drink and stuff. Now, last time we've spoke a couple of times, you were doing harvest. Do you harvest like the different grapes at different times, or is everything harvested about the same time?
Everything comes in between, let's say, September 1st and Halloween.
Okay.
But that is a traditional grape harvest, right? Everything's, it starts to grow in mid-April, and it's done by September, October. Depending on the varietal and depending on where it's being grown, will depend on when you actually pick in those 2 months, right? And so I have some Syrah sites that would come off the beginning of September, and I've got some Syrah sites that come off all the way around Halloween. It's just based on where the vineyard is located. And again, that's why those wines are different. Light Years we talked about.
Yeah.
It's also 100% Syrah, but it's Lewis Vineyard, and it's completely different.
It was delicious. And actually, around Christmas time, I had a Christmas party. I had a few friends over, and I'm like, listen, you got to try this. And I looked like a rock star with this bottle of wine passing around, and everyone's like, I swear to you, Trey, everyone's like, this is the best one I've ever had in my life. But hey, we have a question. John wants to know. He was looking at the sleight of hand seller website yesterday, and for someone like John, who is in the early stages of wine appreciation and who likes a more of a delicate red, what would you recommend off your website?
Our Grenache, which is called the Sorceress, it's more Pinot-like. It's lighter in color. It's still full-bodied, but it's lighter in color, and it's got beautiful fruit aromatics and complexities. But it's a very approachable wine now. And then we make a wine called the Spellbinder, which is just my red table wine. And that wine is meant for immediate drinking, and it's soft and delicious and fruity. And it's a killer bottle of wine. It's only $20.
Okay.
And that's a great bottle of wine as well.
Well, just speaking from someone who does like cheap red wine, because that's what I drank before I got to know Trey, and I didn't do anything fancy with glasses, but now I'm going to be getting a decanter as soon as we get off here from Amazon.com.
And some proper stimware.
And I will get some stemware. Yes, I will. I will make sure. Well, here's the thing. So, when we first started this show, we had no idea what it was going to take off, and and we've done pretty good online. But the podcast numbers, and I've shared them with you, are actually pretty good, like really good. So I've talked to a local winery locally, and they actually want to have the show there. So I'm going to ship you their bottle of wine. So I'm going to give you a Virginia wine from a local people. We're going to do the show from there. So that'll be next month. The date will be announced soon, because February is an exciting month for everyone here at the studio. And dude, I can't believe, and I'm so excited that you're a part of this. And I feel like I get more knowledge. I feel like I'm getting educated. Like I'm going into a classroom and learning so much from you every time we talk. But yeah,
I don't want it to sound like, because the thing I hate most about the wine business, or just the wine world, is it can be super pretentious and very snooty. And those of us in the wine business, and there are I would say the older generation of the wine makers and the people in the business, they shake their heads like, I don't understand how we're losing business. Like, how are wine sales going down? I'm like, do you hear how you talk to people about wine? Are you even doing anything to reach out to the 21-year-old, 21 to 30-year-old, and try to capture that customer? If you read your website, or look at the material you're putting out there, that listen to the way you talk to people, you're doing nothing to attract people. And there's no wonder they're going to beer or whiskey or vodka or, whatever, White Claw, whatever, right? So
I couldn't agree with you more. And I'll tell you something, you're spoiling me when we're drinking these bottles of wine, because this is like, you have this, and then I had something recently, and I'm not gonna mention names, but I had it, like, it just wasn't the same. Like, but I mean, in the same sense too, like, as now I'm 35, right? I think I'm 35 or 36. I can't remember half the time how old I am, but like,
COVID did that to people.
Yeah, everything just kind of blurs together. But like, for most part, most people
at 2 PM on a Wednesday doing a business meeting.
Oh God, dude, it's nuts. But like, like for me, most people my age drink, wine, and not wine, drink beer and stuff. So they're not really drinking on the wine side of things. So it's totally interesting to have your side of things, that people are coming in, giving your opinions on stuff, so that I can look into it and have an education of what I'm drinking. Because it's like the second show we did, you said, hey, listen, go get this kind of wine. And I said, I can't find anything. He's like, all right, we'll just buy a bottle of wine. And I'm like, oh, look, it's a whiskey barrel thingamabob. And as soon as you saw it, you're like, Anthony, the hell did you buy that for? And then as soon as you said it, now it's like, it's the damn truth.
But see, here's the thing. But then again, I'm almost contradicting myself here, Anthony. It's almost like I was berating you for even trying wine, and I'm gonna apologize right now.
But you didn't berate me for buying wine. You berated me for saying, like, because there's gimmicky things out there. Everything has a gimmick. It's a marketing thing. Because, like, someone who might not drink wine would say, hey, it's barreled in a whiskey bottle. well, then in a barrel, maybe that will appeal to me for someone who likes whiskey. So I thought,
Yeah.
hey, maybe it's clever, it's fancy because it's barreled in a whiskey barrel. All I knew is, but it was a terrible wine, had the worst aftertaste. Dude, I had the worst heartburn that night. It was terrible.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to tell you I told you so because I didn't have it. I didn't have the
Well,
ability to stop you from buying that in the beginning. But
well, listen, before we get into garden, first of all, and I know this really means absolutely nothing coming from me, but dude, I am so happy and excited and thrilled for you that yesterday not only did you sell out, but you created wine again for Pearl Jam that's going to go directly to help the Vitology Foundation, and you
yeah,
sold out in what, 4 hours?
yeah. So in 2018, when we made those home show wines, and we made those 4-packs,
Mm-hmm.
right, one for each city. Um, we made 450 4-packs that we sold to 10 Club. And then we had an additional 75 cases that went to Ethan Stowell, who is a restaurant group in Seattle, was the restaurant partner with Pearl Jam during the home shows.
Mm-hmm.
So the month of July and August leading up to the shows, Ethan poured that by the glass at all of his restaurants. And the funny part about that story is when Pearl Jam fans that lived in Seattle at the time in July found that out, they naturally went to Ethan's restaurant, ordered the wine, and everyone asked for the bottle. They're like, "Hey, can I have that bottle when you're done with it?" And so Ethan's like, "No one ever asked to take home an empty bottle after they have but everybody wanted the empty bottle, right?"
Really?
And so back in the fall of 2020, Tim reached out to me and said, "Look, we've got some things in the works in February for Valentine's Day weekend. We're going to do the home shows night 2,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to partner with Seattle Chocolates, or I'm sorry, Theo's
Mm-hmm.
Chocolates, who was also their partner in 2018, and us. And thankfully, we have been holding back about the same amount of wine, 224 cases, every vintage, hoping that we would get that phone call. And so at that point, Tim and his team, we worked together, came up with a label design. We wanted to use we wanted to have a connection to the home shows. So we used the Seattle label, but it says home shows instead of Seattle.
Okay.
The 18 vintage, it just said, Seattle, and then there was Missoula and Chicago and Boston. But the other bottle, what we did this year, which was different, was the new Vitology label, or the logo that they've come up with, that sort of red, blue, gray, white color scheme. Really,
Yep.
really cool logo. So they formatted it to fit the exact same size as the home shows label and that round format. And so instead of doing a 4-pack, we did a 2-pack. And we're not doing the Ethan Stowell connection because all the restaurants are essentially closed.
Sure.
So we're able to sell 1,200 2-packs, which was great because we limited everybody to one, even though I'll tell you, if anybody here is watching that was on that order thing, I definitely saw some emails that were like a different letter at the end. So whatever, you buck the system. If that goes on eBay, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. All right, this is for charity. At least donate the extra money to charity. But instead of having 450 4-packs, now I had 1,200 2-packs. And so there's more opportunity to buy, which was very fulfilling for us. And it's just awesome to be able to work with your favorite band.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
and on top of that, on the back end of that, then we get to go write a big fat check to the Vitaology Foundation. And so, the wine business there's always been a charitable side to the wine business. And if you've ever been to a school auction, if you've ever been to a auction from, I'm sorry, Scott, I wish we made more. If they ask us to up the number, we'll do it.
But Scott, before Trey goes on, if you missed that wine, there is other wine on the sleight of hand site. You could. I'm just telling you that it's good. It's good wine. Just
And it's good wine. But the I guess the whole point being is that with being able to, there's more customers, 1,200 customers that are 450 customers is great. But the Vitaology Foundation with their home shows initiative 2 years ago, it's not like that was a one and done deal for press, right? They're legitimately concerned about issues in our home state.
Yeah.
And the homelessness issue is at the very top, very top. If you've been to Seattle and King County, and I think it's the same way around the country, but it's very apparent in a city that has so much wealth to see 10,000 people sleeping in a tent under a overpass or on a piece of public park land or a sidewalk is tragic.
Yeah.
And the fact that they are willing to throw, $11 million back then, and they're still pumping money into it by doing initiatives like this, is awesome, because no one wants to, these people didn't choose to be homeless. And so, whatever circumstances in their life happened, whether it's drugs, alcohol, financial, whatever, they're humans just like you and I are, and they may have a mom, they may have kids. They for sure are not mom. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's
all you have to do is imagine it's one of your family members, and what would you do to help them? So
when I came up to Seattle and I went to the market, and I couldn't believe on the side of it and the lower parts close to the water and the pen. I mean, it was, and nobody, like, everyone was walking past it like it was just so normal. And that was kind of, it's like the only other place I've ever seen that was in New York City. So it was kind of surprising to me that as clean as Seattle was from, that was acceptable, like that they were cool with that. And that was shocking to me. It was really shocking. But dude, as a friend, I'm so excited that you're able to do this and work with Pearl Jam and donate this money to go to a good cause, and that you sold out because it's so well deserved. Your wine is excellent. It's awesome. Good for you, buddy.
Well, thanks. That's my buddy. It's not just, so that's the Underground Wine Project. It's not Sleight of Hand. Underground Wine Project is something that is owned by Sleight of Hand Cellars and Mark Ryan Winery.
Okay.
Mark Ryan, who is my partner in Underground, is also a huge Pearl Jam fan and has a wine called the Dissident. So for you guys out there who are in the wine, drinking wine lovers out there, go hunt down the Mark Ryan Dissident. He's got a Mourvèdre called Crazy Mary. There's between he and I think we're going to end up using all the Pearl Jam names. But I'm going to use this opportunity to give a shout out to one of my dearest friends, and his name is James Wallace. And James and I have known each other. He was a wine consumer, and that's how I got to know our brand. And then he and I became great friends. And now he works in the business. He works for a buddy's winery called Curlew. But James started his own label, tiny. I mean, like 3 barrels of red wine. And the red wine's called Future Days. And so now James is like moving into the Pearl Jam themed wine. But that song also made sense for his transition out of what he was doing into the wine world. And so if you guys look up, I think it's called, this is embarrassing. I'm like, he's one of my best buds. Something Bridge Cellars. Lover, is that bottle still in there? I don't think it is. Anyway, if you just Google, I don't know if it's going to show up on Google because he makes so little of it.
Trey, if you want, what I'll do is if you send me the link later in the podcast version of this and everything, I'll make sure the links and everything for later on.
Yeah.
So
perfect.
But before we move on, why don't we dig deep into this? First, I'm going to make an announcement which I'm really excited about that Trey doesn't know about until just now. But I just signed a deal with Pandora about 2 weeks ago, and this show is going to be with all the shows from Touring Fan Live. is going to be on the SiriusXM radio platform, so the streaming service, starting April 1st. So if you have SiriusXM and you have then you will get the online version of it on your phone. You can actually search the Touring Fan Live, and then under there will be all the shows, including this one, which will be on SiriusXM radio. Well, it's not SiriusXM radio, but SiriusXM online radio. So you'll be able to listen to this starting April 1st on every platform out there, possibly.
That's amazing.
Yeah, big
people love us, man.
Dude, it's me, not me, it's you. Let's be realistic.
Hey, look, I just mentioned before, right when we were starting, that I literally just got off of another Zoom call, and it was with a restaurant buddy of mine, who's a wine guy in North Carolina, and all of his customers. He had like 25 customers on the Zoom call, and the thing ran like 45 minutes long, and because I thought I had like time to spare before our podcast tonight, but as I was getting off, I had to explain to people why to jump off. I go, look, guys, I gotta go. I've got this Pearl Jam podcast I'm gonna do, and the look on their faces are like, these are all just these folks are on this podcast are on this Zoom call for wine and food, and they're like, Pearl Jam has enough fans still today that there's a podcast out there. I'm like, yeah, they do.
Well, here, before we're about to play Garden, but before we do, I want you to think about this question. Is Pearl Jam one of the top 3 greatest American bands of all time? Don't answer yet. We'll get back to that question right after this.